Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Real with Morton. And I'm joined here by Amanda Browell-Hook, who is turning out to be a regular guest on the show.
Thank you.
And Amanda's the director of Morton Real Estate and a shareholder, and she is in charge of recruitment and people and careers. So we're talking today about real estate careers and what does it take to have one, and the pros and the cons, I suppose, and also what to do. So why don't we start first with broadly the different roles in real estate?
I think there's obviously the traditional sales agent route. Everybody knows that that's the stereotype of a real estate agent. But alongside that, we have property managers. So half our business is property managers. And property management in itself has lots of different roles in there. So there might be leasing agents and property officers. We have trust accountants. We also have a whole operational team. So anybody who keeps the business running. So I'm talking about operations managers, marketing managers, digital managers, graphic designers, accountants, finance managers. There's the whole gauntlet. So
it's interesting just listening to you say that. I suppose the point of that, real estate is a career. A lot of people approach it as a job, and to a certain extent, I suppose we have got that legacy. But a lot of our most successful salespeople actually start in property management, and that's because it gives you a grounding and an understanding of property. And I can't underrate that. I think if we asked all our top performers, they'd all say start in property management and get that understanding.
because then you understand the fundamentals of real estate. You understand the legislation side of it, the compliance side of it, and the customer service. And once you've got that, you can just go on.
I think because you see property and you see what works, what doesn't, what rents well, why it doesn't, you get the benefit of good design, what happens with bad design. So definitely a good place to start.
Yeah.
And so in terms of a career, what would you say is the main benefit?
Look, there's lots of benefits to being a real estate career. But the ones that come to mind most of all is it is accessible to the majority of people. The reason being is there are very clear entry roles that you can come into. So you can be a school leaver and you can join us as an inspection officer on reception and so forth. Very traditional way in. And we've had people who've been here 10, 15 years who came in through that route. On the flip side, it's a good second career option.
Yes.
So I'm talking about people who may have had 20 years in a corporate, like finance or marketing, something different, and they're coming into us. So you can come in at either side of your life stages.
No, that's absolutely correct. There is skills that are built in other industries that you can bring in here. The only, I suppose, warning that I put into that is that real estate is particularly on the sales side of it, if you're coming into that, it is a raw environment where you get the deal, you don't get the deal. A lot of disappointment, a lot of emotion sits around us pitching to get people, and it can be quite, that can be quite hard.
Yes, and I think there is a misperception that it's quick money and easy money, and
It is not quick money.
It is a slow burn, and honestly, it's only the top 1% of agents who earn the kind of money that the media like to talk about. So I think we would stress there is a lot of hard work to get there.
And the money is definitely there, so let's not forget that. It is a great way, particularly for women. I always say it is a genuinely equal opportunity industry because we pay the same commission to whatever gender anybody
100%.
is. And the women are good at it.
And once you're established, there is a bit of flexibility and independence. So it might work for you to be doing your appointments at night, so you can do the school pickup. And that's okay. Like the client, that works for the clients.
Flexibility. So it is on the sales side, it is a 24/7 job where you could be negotiating things at night, and that can be exciting, but it can also be taxing. But it does give you the flexibility to be able to manage a family or do whatever else.
And if you want to do that 9 to 5, there's roles for you too.
So in terms of the skills and traits that you think people need to have to be successful, and whether that's actually any different to any industry?
We're really looking for level-headed people who've got emotional discipline, people who can connect with other humans. So we are a people business service industry. If that is not naturally something that you can do, it's probably not the role for you.
You know, I get that. Because even in the roles that are operational, you are still working with the frontline team who are actually receiving the emotion from the client. So you've got to be able to stay reasonably level. We do, I suppose, accept a lot of emotion from clients whenever people are moving house, whether it's a buyer, a seller, or a tenant. It is emotional and fraught. So you've got to be able to have the skills and the emotional discipline yourself to be able to deal with that.
Definitely. And we see the most successful people in our business are the ones who can take the hat off at the end of the day and go home to their own families.
Well, we also with property management is you between 8:30 and 5:30, you do the very best that you can. And then you actually leave, you close it down for the night and you forget about it. And then you come back at 8:30. And if you can't do that, then it can actually get under your skin. So there is some skills you got to learn about how to manage all of that.
So we were talking about earlier about the professionalism of the industry, something you've been involved in with your work with the REI.
Yes.
And so can you tell the people a bit more about...
So if you come into real estate, you have to do your license, and you've got to do that within 4 years of joining the industry. And that license course, don't get that confused with the certificate of registration, which is 5 days. The license course is a big deal. It is study. You've got to be disciplined about it. And most people find it in some degree onerous. I mean, you are doing law, trust accounting, which may seem boring, but also very necessary to build that knowledge. You also need to spend time, work as class 2 license. So you do your course, get a class 2. You have to do 2 years with a class 1 person in order to get to that. And you have to have a class 1 if you want to run a business. You have to do CPD, continual professional development every year on topics set out by the government. But I think that's all a good thing because the customer really wants an expert. And that's where it's interesting. You've got AI and tech and this and that. What's actually happening is the consumer is like, I get all of that. Could you just tell me what I need to do or tell me what the story is? So as a real estate professional, you need to be well armed for that. And I think that's one of the biggest shifts that we've had in our industry over the last, probably 4 years. And I'm 100% for it. So if you have got the benefit of a tertiary education, which a lot of the young ones do now, a lot more people are going to uni, it does help. Sits well with the expectations of what a consumer wants from us.
I agree with you. And I think it's really important when people are looking for their careers in real estate, they're finding an agency that will support that professional development.
100%.
So we, for example, at Morton, we do in-house CPD every year. We have a whole traineeship program. We are monitoring and managing everybody through those first 4 years to make sure they get their license.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of people here who've been here for, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, a long time. And what we're into is planning that career and making sure you've got the skills to be able to move through it. And if going to sales is where you want to be, then we want you to be $1 million fee writer. That means writing a title of $1 million and plus, and we have programs really to help you get there. But it is a long-term commitment from everybody, from the business and also from the person as well. Let's touch on technology. I must admit, I've got a bit of a thing about this at the moment because there's so much of it. And I think it's not just real estate. Anybody you talk to, technology is such a key part. And I think that you have to have a mindset of being able to work technology out. I think this is for the young people. I think you're better placed for this in that if you can get in and have the curiosity to know how technology works, I think that is a very big plus because there is a lot of it and there is more coming. On one level, it's getting simpler. So even there's lots of tools around who we should ring up. And there's a lot of tech being applied to that. And where it will end up is ring this one. Simply, but there's to sort of get to that, you've got to understand how it'll work.
And I think you make the point that other tech is telling us to ring this one. So you're not losing that personal connection. So for those, especially the young people who don't like to get on the phone and make that face-to-face connection, what the technology is doing is honing it in so we get to that person quicker. We still have to make that human connection.
100%. Real estate is about human connection. And in this day and age where we're using lots and lots of technology to talk, it's interesting. Even I saw a thing about AI where it's worried it's going to take everyone's jobs. And what this guy was saying is he thinks that what AI will do will bring the emphasis back to the human.
Yes.
And I think that's true because you can Google everything, and we see this across the whole board of property managers and salespeople. Like, clients can Google this, they can get valuations here, there's that information here. ChatGPT is telling them this, but actually it makes it more confusing. And what they want is someone just to tell them what to do, and they want to do that with somebody they trust. So I suppose the final topic we're going to talk about is the future of real estate. And I think it's a very exciting place to be. Real estate is a very old profession, as everyone tells us, but you have to live places. They have to live in homes. They have to rent homes. So there is a role, and COVID taught us this, that we actually have a real place. Then we're needed.
I don't think our industry is going anywhere. As you said, look, we will always need a roof over our home. There will always need to be some kind of transactional broker to allow that to happen. So I think if you're a young person going, well, what career could I go into? It's a safe bet. I personally think real estate. Yes, I think you have to grow with the industry and change with technology and professionalism, but I think it's a safe bet for most of us.
I think so too.
So the last thing I just want to talk to you about was careers at Morton.
Yes.
So we have an approach at Morton where we are always looking, we are always recruiting. And again, a bit like working with our clients, working with potential employees and people to join our team, it's a long burn.
Yep.
It's about making the human connection. So we're happy to have coffee with anybody.
Yes. So the way we look at it, we always want the bench filled up because, we're a growing business and there's lots of things happening at any one time. So we always want to have people. One of the things about coming here is we do psychometric tests everybody. Yep. We're happy to share those. So even if you don't get very far, we'll give you the results of your psychometric test, which could help you in the future. But we go to that level of depth to really try and understand people and to make sure that we're getting the right fit, not only from a personality point of view, but also a values point of view, and just get that sense that you're somebody who can really fit into us.
Yep. And we are happy to have coffee with anybody who wants to talk about a possible career in real estate.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. It doesn't mean that you're committed to us. Is what I like. And we might talk to you this year, and it might be in 3 years' time that you come on board with us. So give us a call, shoot us an email, and we're happy to have a chat.
100%. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope that gave you some insights, our ramblings into careers in real estate, careers at Morton. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you.